Christine, I'm happy that you're here and everybody else that's here from the coaches category. And let me introduce you quickly to who's here. Well, Christine Dean is known as the DFW marketing diva and has probably the most experience and expertise around live streaming. And she's live streaming to LinkedIn, other platforms, and we're learning how to do that. So, in full disclosure, we've got four of us here that have a lot of questions, and we're hoping that Christine has some answers. And if you're joining us here in the event, which is now live, and you're a coach, or you're just a member of BeeKonnected, or you're coming in from one of the other live streams, go ahead and enter your questions in the chat. We'll have this show up in replay mode, and you'll be able to see the chat. So if you're in the BeeKonnected platform, put your name, your location, any questions, any observations that you have relative to live streaming. This will probably be a series. We're going to end this call promptly at 2 p.m. Central, so I'm sure we won't cover everything. And it looks like we lost Christine, so that's very possible. So, but before we get started, I would like to introduce Jeff Wright. Jeff is coming to us, I believe, from St. Louis right now. Say hi, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm in St. Louis right now. Eventually, I will be in Charlotte, North Carolina in a few months, but I'm still in St. Louis. So,
all right. And Jeff is an amazing marketer, leader. He's a BeeKonnected elite coach, like the rest of us here on this call that are on screen. And also, we have Nathan Daniel here, who's here from Oklahoma. Go ahead and say hi, Nathan. So, because we're recording
hi, Nathan.
this. Yeah, well, we're recording it in speaker mode, so I want them to see you in replay. So, what part of Oklahoma are you in, Nathan?
Just outside of Oklahoma City.
Okay, just outside of Oklahoma City. And my very frequent wingman and singer-songwriter, serial entrepreneur, Ricky Jean Wright, is also here with us. Ricky, say hi, and you're...
Howdy.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting, some kind of Americana. Ricky is an Americana singer-songwriter and actually has written the theme song to my podcast. So I'm excited to have him here. And we have the expert, as we build her on streaming, Christine Dean. And so hopefully we're getting this streamed out. If we're not, we'll do it the next time. But I really want to start off with not telling you a lot of things about it, but I want to start off with questions. So those of you that are here, you know what we're talking about. I have more questions than answers when it comes to live streaming, mainly around why and at what point we should be live streaming, what value we should expect, and those kinds of things. But rather than just deal with what I've got, my issues, I'm going to invite Jeff, since I know you and I have had a little bit of conversation on this. What are your questions around live streaming?
Yeah, I appreciate this. Christine obviously is doing a lot of great things as far as helping with strategies using BeeKonnected and just overall being able to just have some of those tips and tricks or whatever you might call it. But I think my main question is when you have all these different ways like StreamYard and things like that, whether you're using YouTube Live or you're using Facebook Live, you have all these different platforms, and it can make your head spin because you're like, well, I'm just trying to build community. And so what's like for someone who's just starting out that maybe doesn't have a large following? Because I think especially it's true that some of the members on BeeKonnected, maybe you do have, I don't know, 50,000 plus followers, but I would argue that probably there's a good portion, if not many, of members out there where they might just be starting to really grow their audience. And so for those that are maybe really just trying to grow their audience, maybe from scratch, or maybe they only have like 1,000 or so as far as followers, what would be like a good starting point to use the live streaming, what would be like a quick, like if someone were to, if they're going to be focusing on the top, maybe like the number one thing of what they should just focus on to start to move the needle forward on that, what would be like a good starting point of just like getting their feet wet into that starting point?
I would say just do it. Right. A lot of times we hem and we haw and we procrastinate. Best thing with doing live is just get on there and do it. You're not going to break the internet, promise. So if you get on there and you give it a try, it didn't work, you can go back and delete it. I'll probably have to do that earlier from what I tried to do earlier. Not enough bandwidth to stream this on my places from sharing and stuff. So sometimes it doesn't go like you wanted to. Go in, delete it. It's okay. Right. But just get on there. Start off with something really simple. You want people to get to know you. And you talk about using it to build community. Well, your community has different preferences on where they like to hang out. Right. Some of them are big YouTubers. They like to watch video after video there. Right. So I always say if you're going to stream to as many places as possible so you can get in front of whoever's there, wherever their favorite place is to hang out. So this is a great tool for that because you can use the special tools. There's automatically set up for Facebook and for LinkedIn and things. But you're going to want to, explore those options. Just start with something really short that lets them know who you are, what's important to you.
Is there
Right?
something too, Christine, is there something that you do like for you and your business? Is there something that you actually do that you do post something on there to kind of maybe give yourself an opportunity to have the most members or of your target audience actually show up for that live stream? Is there something that you do in particular to maximize that?
If you know ahead of time that you're going to go, it never hurts to post and tag people and let them know that you're going to go, like, hey, going live today at 2, right? Whatever it is, and letting them know ahead of time. This way they know to look for that. The other cool thing with when you stream to Facebook, it'll actually let people know that you're going live. So-and-so's live right now. And they're like, oh, and then they can click on that, right? So the more visibility you have for that, or if you wanted to create an event so they know you can invite people to that event. It's one of the capabilities we have here is to create an event and people can see what's going on live in the hive, right? So the more visibility you have, the more people you can get to go. In addition, if you plan it ahead of time, you can also send out email invitations, say, hey, this is where I'm going live. Follow me here. Right?
That's actually a great tip, Christine. And I appreciate that from my perspective, because that's one of the things. We have a little more compact audience here on BeeKonnected, and there's still strategies you want to use if we're going to do a show like this. And we're essentially live streaming back to BeeKonnected right now in this show. And what you just said, which I think is brilliant, is that we need to ahead of time not only have it set up as a show, but also you're recommending, I believe, that we can also post it in the main feed and say this show is getting ready to start or it's coming up, which is what I tried to do, but I didn't give it enough time. In all fairness, this is something we were wanting to do, and we're going to have other follow-on shows to maybe refine and get a little finer point. And then always, Christine is an amazing resource that a lot of people can take advantage of here on the platform, as is Jeff and others. And so we're going to have other programs, other shows that are going to dive more deeply into how you do this and some of the deeper, more involved strategies, if you will. So great questions. Nathan, you're very involved in the real estate space up there in Oklahoma. You're doing a lot of shows, coaching, and I believe doing some streaming yourself. What questions do you have or things that we should consider?
I have so many, and I don't think we have enough time to get through them all because I always love asking pros how they do it. So one, you've already started talking about like the pre setup, like before you go live. Like I would love to hear a little bit more if there's any guidance or steps that you would say to that. But then also I would love, because when you're streaming live, one of the biggest opportunities you have is to engage with your audience. So can you talk to us a little bit about that and how you engage with your audience while you're streaming live?
Those are great questions. Yeah, you want to be able to let people know that, first off, is let them know that you're going to go live. ahead of time so they know to show up. And you might do that through social media posts. You might do it through, emails, all those kind of things. So you let them know. Now they're going to show up. Now, how do you make them feel involved? Right? Engagement. So part of that is letting them know that you see them. So when they comment, you can say, hey, so and so, right? As you see their names pop up, is another great place to do it. So sometimes you might ask, where's everybody coming from? Right? Where are you checking in from? Let me know what state you're in, what if you're doing something that's really broad. Or if you have questions, like a lot of times during my presentations, I'll be teaching something. And so I'll ask, if I'm talking about events, how many of you host events? Right? Are you hosting them online or in person? Let me know in chat. I want to know what you're up to so I can better tailor this to your needs, right? So when you're asking questions that you get to look at the answers and incorporate that into whatever it is that you're talking about, it helps people really feel like they're involved.
That's awesome. I think that is a key thing because it's not one way. And I think the engagement also, I'm not an expert being an expert marketer like you are, Christine, but I'm assuming that drives the algorithm to get you more exposure if you're interacting with the audience on your stream. Is that a good assumption?
Well, because you figured they're commenting, right? So they're commenting in order to talk to you. So you have a chance to see those respond back, and they're commenting, right? So anything that encourages that engagement and commenting is going to help with your algorithms.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you. I have a follow-up question, if that's okay, Dave.
Go for it.
Okay. So, and I know you stream often and all this kind of stuff. Is there anything that, like, when you're engaging and stuff, that you find content-wise that you find that is more relevant and you get more interaction with versus sometimes that you don't?
You're going to laugh, but sometimes it's the silly things and sometimes it's the heavy duty stuff. It just depends on your audience, and only you know your audience, right? So how did you meet them? Who are they? How did you get connected with them? What kind of things are they interested? I'm connected with a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs and nonprofits. So I kind of know what kind of things they like to do, but sometimes they like silly stuff. I have a lot of Texans, right? Being in Texas. So I posted something like the scraper for the shoe when you get the mud on your shoes. I think I had 70 people chiming in on that one, right? I mean, it's just funny. You just never know. It could be something. So I think my most was what time should dinner be? It's an internal debate in our household, right? Totally family focused. And I got the most responses out of that than anything. So have some fun. Don't think that you always have to be very straight and very, focused and the topic has to be something that's very monumental and mind blowing. Relate to people as people.
Love it. Yeah, I love that, Christine. And in fact, speaking of relating to people as people and Texans, Ricky had his hand up. Ricky, did you have something that relative to this question you have on your mind?
Yes. I have the same question that lingers around in my thinking all the time, but I've also had other people to bring this up to me when I mention live streaming, and they say, well, what benefit really is live streaming when you can actually record something, post it, and people can comment? So what's really the unless you're live streaming to thousands and thousands of people, but let's say the average person who's doing posting, what's the advantage of live streaming instead of just recording it and posting it?
Okay, so there's a couple of different advantages. One is, for example, when you just post a video, most social platforms don't show that to anybody. Like, it might just be sitting there and nobody sees it, right? If you go live, it'll actually announce, hey, so-and-so is going live, right? You get those kind of notifications on the social platforms. So that makes a difference, because who's going to see it? You're going to have a lot more people that'll see that you're going live than, oh, so-and-so posted a video. Okay, there's one. And the second side of that is the engagement side, right? They might comment, but you're not interacting. You're not calling their name. You're not asking them questions, right? So you're not tailoring what you're saying to what they're doing if you're just pre-recorded, right? So if I'm asking,
Yeah, and
I see Jeff's got his finger up. What Jeff?
So, because I want to add to that, and actually, Ricky, I'll attest to that, because when I know that I was in something similar where I was like, yeah, like I'm just gonna do this live instead of get the recording. And I would say from my own experience, any live show that I've done where when that host actually posts my question, and sometimes it's even on the screen, and they're actually focusing that conversation and they're actually custom tailoring it to answering, I actually do feel more special and more engaged because of that, as compared to like, oh, well, and I think just human nature says like, oh, hey, that person actually cares about my question and answering that, as compared. So I would agree with that. I think that's a good point.
Well,
Everybody likes to feel special.
Yeah.
I always thought that it looked a little bit, braggadocious maybe, when I saw a live streaming thing and the people were like, oh, such and such is here. Oh, and I see, John is here. Oh, and they're doing more of that than they were actually giving out information. It was more of a, you know, I'm on here and people are jumping on and seeing, and I'm going, okay, time out, uh, don't 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 be don't be interacting and saying who's here and who's not. It all seemed fake, and or a tiny bit fake.
I hear you, Ricky, and really what that is a lot of times they're buying a little bit of time and letting people jump on and join you is what it is. So they don't want to dive too quickly into the information because they don't want them to miss it, knowing that it takes people a minute to say, oh, so and so's live here, let me click in, right? So sometimes they'll do that kind of as a warm up at the beginning, but you're right, you don't want too much of that because then it just feels like too much fluff, and you're like, are you going to get to your point, right? So there's a fine line between the two of making people feel acknowledged and that they're important and getting to the point.
That's a great point, Christine. And one of the things is, and you've probably heard me say it, is when people talk to me about live streaming, because I've been on the platform, all the platforms, social media, now media platforms, since Facebook was even around. I mean, I had a MySpace page. So one of the things that I found on all of the platforms is when they introduced, and this is past tense for LinkedIn, Facebook, all those, when they introduced live streaming, pre-StreamYard, pre anything, they did give you a lot of visibility to your audience. And I was Facebook living my Friday presentations and got 500 in views on that live stream. Now I can do the same thing and I get 3. And I don't think it's the content, because it's not me. It's a lot of times these are guest speakers who have valuable content. What's your opinion on that? Or is there a strategy we can implement to get, other than paying them because they're media platforms, to promote us? What can we do? And you've already given us some tips. What can we do strategy wise to get people to pay attention if we're going to go to the trouble of live streaming?
The hard part is a lot of your social platforms have really moved towards a pay to play philosophy, and much more so than the organic side. What you're seeing also, though, is they're also trying to push more organic because, for example, a rising creator, whatever they want to call it. I have a professional mode on Facebook, for example. And so they actually give me tasks that they want you to do to help promote who you are on your personal. And it's like, wait a minute, this isn't my business page, this is my personal page, but that's okay. It's so part of it is they want you to go live. They want you to create reels and they want you to create original content. And so they actually will give you bonus awards and money for creating original content. So they are trying to encourage that more rather than just the pay side. So it's kind of an interesting balance between the two, right? You're going to get more visibility on the paid side always.
That's a great thing. And I hadn't thought about that. So thank you, Christine, because one of the things is it all does go back to content. It all goes back to you producing, or us producing, high quality content and then getting it out there. The other question I have, and you already kind of answered at the beginning, but I don't want to bury the lead here. But the thing you said in the beginning, which was probably the best thing to do, is to get started when it comes to getting your content out there on any streaming platform, getting started, even if your start isn't that great, right? At least it's getting you to where that's refined. Is that, what would you say about that?
Kind of like with anything, you get practice makes perfect, right? So you may start off kind of rusty, but as you get going, you'll be a little bit like nervous. You'll feel a little bit more comfortable, right? And it's going to get better as you go. So just getting those first couple ones out, even if they're only a couple minutes. Like if you upload a video, for example, to Facebook and it's only less than a minute, they turn it into a reel. Right? You don't even have a choice. It automatically turns it into a reel. So there's little quirks in the system that you kind of have to just play with and see what your options are. Every system has quirks, right? So you're not going to break the internet. Just get in there, do it. If you don't like it, delete it. But really, they encourage you to actually go live or to post or interact with your audience 3-4 times a day plus.
Awesome.
So
So
this
three
is
or
a,
four. Okay, so
It depends on the platform.
yeah.
That one's Facebook. LinkedIn only wants you to stream live once a day.
Okay, that's interesting. Basically, because LinkedIn is still wanting to be more business focused, and as opposed to Facebook being more personal, socially focused, such that they want you to stay on all day.
Yeah, they want you to be addicted.
Yeah,
Yes.
if you're a business, if you're
Exactly.
a company and you're employed, yeah, this is
Like
a big
crack
problem.
cocaine.
Yeah, this was the big problem with LinkedIn in the beginning, back in the corporate world where I was, and I was a big proponent of LinkedIn back then, before IBM bought them, because they became before they became a media platform. And I was saying, yeah, it's a good thing for people to be on LinkedIn, but you still didn't want everybody just spending all day on LinkedIn any more than you wanted them on Facebook, because watching cat videos, because they weren't productive, right? Hi, Jessica.
wow. Yeah,
Jess,
so speaking, I was just talking to Jessica. Oh wow, she's quick. I was just talking to her a little while ago. So awesome to have Jessica on. That just speaks to how smart she is. But she figured it out probably sooner than I did when I got on this platform. That's pretty impressive, Jessica. Man, she's already on the call. So definitely welcome Jessica.
welcome, Jessica.
Yeah.
I'll send you a connection request right now. Any other questions for Christine? We are going to end promptly at the top of the hour, and we will be back Wednesday at 7:30 on this topic or other questions that we go around. So I want you, this isn't the end of the conversation. This is the beginning of the conversation. Christine has more information we could possibly get out here in many, many of these shows. And I know a lot of you have more questions. I have more questions than I can possibly get. So Nathan, go ahead. You had a question?
Yeah, I do. So you've given some great advice on just starting and getting going and everything. I think I guess this will be my final question of the day. When it comes to starting, right? Like, I love the idea. I'm like, okay, yes, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go start streaming. How would you help me prepare to just get on and do it? Like you've said, like, what can I have prepared for myself so I don't mess up? Because that's the worst feeling. Like, you get on there and you're just like, oh, you start just bumbling everywhere. Like,
Well, so
how would you help somebody prepare to just
I
go
hear
live?
you, Nathan. My background is also public speaking. I taught college for years and coached the speech and debate team. So you're right up my alley. Okay, so make just a post-it note with a couple of things that you want to talk about and stick it right to the side of your screen. All right, this way you can glance at it. Don't write it out word for word. Don't give yourself too much to focus on. Just a couple of keywords that are going to remind you what you want to talk about. All right. Keep it super, super simple, right? Be in and out of there in 3 minutes, right? Just as kind of warm up, get yourself going. And really, Nathan, if you're doing real estate, you have an endless supply of topics. And actually, anybody does. But, just a matter of, hey, I'm checking out this house right now. Check out some of my favorite features at it. I mean, quick lives that are just fast and easy. And everybody has that opportunity, whatever their industry is.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you.
Could I not to
Go
interrupt,
ahead, Jeff.
because I know
We
there's
got
only a
about
few minutes
3
left.
minutes.
So Jessica, I wanted to see if you want to put in the chat, is there any, especially from Tonya, do you have any questions that you want to type in the chat for Christine? of just like, because I know as far as you starting your business, or not starting, but going to the next level in your business, as far as because she's really big in the she's growing her own organic, just like a lot of different things organically, and more on the nutrition side. But if you have a question about, like, because I know you're trying to grow your audience, do you want to put a question in the chat for Christine to answer?
And Ricky, this would be the advantage of going live, is because you can actually ask your audience for questions. They can give them to you, and then you can respond.
I know she
Like,
has one. I just don't know.
She probably does. I mean, guess nutrition. Oh my goodness. Once again, there's another endless topic. Nutrition is every day. You have the opportunity to share from every meal to meal planning and everything in between. I mean, there's constant content there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I love the engage. Again, I think one of the key nuggets that I'm going to take away from this show, and one that we're going to pursue further, is that real-time advantage of real-time engagement, not just how it gets out, but then the fact that you're engaging with your audience. And Jessica, I think that she says she agrees. One of the things is I think she's on mobile, Jeff. So
Yeah,
so that makes it a little clunkier. And by
she
the
has a
way,
question
Jessica,
right here.
yeah.
She I think she wants, from my conversation with her, and hopefully I'm not butchering this, but I know
Don't take too long because we only got 3 minutes and we're going to land the plane at the top of the
so
hour.
she says, well, okay, yeah, we'll kind of move on then. That's fine. If someone
We'll save that for next time.
Well, that's the key. Thank you, Jeff, for being, aware, because I want to be respectful. We do one of these shows. We're going to be 30 minutes in and out. And if you have questions, feel free to connect. I've already reached out to Jessica, by the way, and requested a connection with her. So, and that would be one of the advantages of them being here live and interactive, right? Because people will follow up. And then also, I think that, to your point, is she's got Christine's point. If you've already got a wealth of content, whether you are doing live streaming or not, this is a good way to get it out. There's some learning curve that has to be done using any streaming platform, but Christine can help you with that. And there are people here that can, and any of the coaches here are also learning if they're not already experts, and I'm not, but Christine is, and I'm getting coaching from her on this, and Ricky Jean and others. So I really appreciate Christine and Jeff and Nathan and Ricky for being here, and because that's where we're going to learn. There's no dumb questions. Feel free to follow up with any of us on this platform. Make sure I can see that Jessica's already connected. I'm assuming her one connection is Jeff. So that's cool.
Most likely.
And she now has another connection request from me. So that's one of the powers of streaming live back to BeeKonnected. And in future episodes, as we're on this journey, because we call ourselves Sherpas, we don't have all the answers, but we're a little further down the road. We're going to talk about more strategies, and we're going to be the best live streaming group on the planet. We're going to get everybody exposed. Christine and I had a conversation about doing a blitz and having everybody in our group streaming some of our shows to all of their connections to get exposure. So Christine, thank you for making the time. I know Nathan, you're here and you're getting ready to bounce. We want to do this very intentionally. And so it's 2 p.m. my time, and we will stop the recording, and feel free if anybody needs to go. And again, thank you everybody for being here. This was incredible. And I'm going to digest what we've learned now, and we'll be talking about more stuff in future episodes of BeeKonnected. What in the world?